KDE Plasma 6.5 represents a moment where years of design refinement, performance engineering, and community-driven polish finally come together into a desktop experience that genuinely feels modern, fast, and beautiful without sacrificing control or flexibility. When you first boot into KDE Plasma 6.5 on a distribution like Kubuntu 24xx, Fedora KDE Spin, Arch Linux with KDE Plasma, openSUSE Tumbleweed, KDE Neon, Manjaro KDE, or EndeavourOS KDE, the immediate impression is not just visual elegance but smoothness. Animations feel deliberate rather than flashy, transitions are consistent, and the desktop responds instantly to your input. KDE Plasma 6.5 feels like a desktop that has matured into its own identity, confidently balancing aesthetics and productivity in a way few Linux desktops manage. The foundation of KDE Plasma 6.5 is built on Qt6 and the Wayland first mindset that began with Plasma 6.0. In Plasma 6.5, Wayland is no longer something you try. It is something you use daily with confidence. On Arch Linux KDE Plasma 6.5 running on Wayland, window movement is buttery smooth. Fractional scaling finally feels correct on high DPI displays, and multi-monitor setups behave predictably. On Fedora KDE Plasma 6.5, which often pushes newer graphic stacks, the integration between Wayland, Mesa, and Plasma feels exceptionally tight. Even on NVIDIA systems, which historically caused frustration for KDE users, Plasma 6.5 shows real progress with fewer graphical glitches and much better frame pacing during animations. One of the most noticeable improvements in KDE Plasma 6.5 is how fast it feels. This isn't just about raw benchmarks, but about perceived performance. The developers focused heavily on reducing microstutters, cutting down unnecessary redraws, and optimizing common code paths. On lower-end hardware such as older laptops running Linux Mint KDE Edition or Manjaro KDE on modest CPUs, Plasma 6.5 feels lighter than previous versions. Opening the application launcher, switching virtual desktops, or resizing windows happens instantly, even when multiple applications are running. KDE Plasma 6.5 demonstrates that a beautiful desktop doesn't need to be heavy. Visually, KDE Plasma 6.5 refines the Breeze theme rather than reinventing it. The result is a cleaner, more cohesive look across the entire system. Buttons, sliders, menus, and panels feel unified, with subtle spacing adjustments that make the interface easier on the eyes. On KDE Neon with Plasma 6.5, where the latest KDE software shines the brightest, the Breeze theme feels perfectly tuned for long sessions, whether you are coding, editing videos, or just browsing the web. Dark mode in KDE Plasma 6.5 is particularly impressive, with better contrast and fewer gray-on-gray elements that used to strain the eyes. Customization has always been KDE's strongest point, and KDE Plasma 6.5 doubles down on this philosophy while making customization less overwhelming for newcomers. On Kubuntu with KDE Plasma 6.5, you can right-click almost anywhere and intuitively discover options that make sense. Want the panel on the top instead of the bottom? Drag it. Want to change icon size, transparency, or behavior? It's all there, logically organized. Advanced users on Arch Linux KDE Plasma 6.5 still have access to deep configuration options, but the defaults are now so good that many users won't feel the need to tweak anything at all. The System Settings application in KDE Plasma 6.5 deserves special attention. It has been refined to be faster, clearer, and more consistent. Categories are better organized, search results are more accurate, and settings pages load instantly. On Fedora KDE Plasma 6.5, System Settings integrates beautifully with the distribution's tools, making tasks like managing displays, power profiles, and input devices straightforward. For laptop users on Manjaro KDE or openSUSE KDE, power management in Plasma 6.5 feels smarter, with better battery estimates and more reliable sleep and resume behavior. KDE Plasma 6.5 also shines in how it handles workflows. Virtual desktops, activities, and window rules are powerful features that set KDE apart from GNOME and other desktops. In Plasma 6.5, these features feel more approachable. On EndeavourOS KDE Plasma 6.5, you can easily create different activities for work, gaming, and personal tasks, each with its own wallpaper, widgets, and window layout. Window tiling has also improved, making it easier to snap windows into place without installing third-party extensions. While KDE Plasma 6.5 doesn't try to copy tiling window managers, it offers enough flexibility to satisfy users who want structured layouts without giving up a traditional desktop. The application launcher in KDE Plasma 6.5 feels faster and more intelligent. Whether you're using the default kickoff menu on Kubuntu KDE Plasma 6.5 or an alternative launcher on Arch Linux, search results appear instantly, categories are easy to navigate, and recently used applications are intelligently prioritized. This small detail contributes greatly to the feeling of speed and polish that defines Plasma 6.5. Another major strength of KDE Plasma 6.5 is how consistent it feels across applications. KDE apps like Dolphin, Console, Gwenview, and Kate all benefit from the same UI refinements and performance improvements. Dolphin in Plasma 6.5 feels especially responsive, with faster directory loading and smoother previews. On KDE Neon Plasma 6.5, Dolphin paired with a fast SSD feels almost instant, even in directories with thousands of files. Console integrates better with the desktop theme, making terminal work feel less visually disconnected from the rest of the system. Wayland improvements in KDE Plasma 6.5 go beyond just performance. Input handling is more reliable, touchpad gestures are smoother, and touchscreen support is significantly better. On devices like 2-in-1 laptops running Fedora KDE Plasma 6.5, touch gestures feel natural, making Plasma a viable option for hybrid devices. Fractional scaling, a long-standing pain point on Linux desktops, finally feels usable. On high-resolution displays with Kubuntu KDE Plasma 6.5, text is crisp, icons are sharp, and applications scale correctly without blurry artifacts. KDE Plasma 6.5 also brings subtle but important improvements to notifications. Notifications are clearer, less intrusive, and more informative. Media controls, file transfer progress, and system alerts are presented in a way that keeps you informed without interrupting your workflow. On Arch Linux KDE Plasma 6.5, notifications feel instant and responsive, even under heavy system load. This attention to small details contributes heavily to the perception of polish. Security and stability are areas where KDE Plasma 6.5 quietly excels. The Plasma team has worked hard to eliminate crashes and memory leaks that existed in earlier releases. On long-running systems like openSUSE Tumbleweed KDE Plasma 6.5, the desktop remains stable even after days of uptime. Plasma no longer feels like something you need to restart occasionally to fix issues. It feels reliable and production-ready. Gaming on KDE Plasma 6.5 is another area worth highlighting. On Arch Linux KDE Plasma 6.5 or Manjaro KDE with Steam and Proton, gaming performance is excellent. Wayland no longer causes noticeable input lag, and full-screen games behave correctly. Plasma's compositor intelligently steps out of the way when needed, ensuring games get maximum performance. Combined with modern kernels and Mesa drivers, KDE Plasma 6.5 offers a fantastic gaming environment on Linux. For content creators, KDE Plasma 6.5 offers a smooth and distraction-free experience. Video editors, graphic designers, and developers benefit from Plasma's flexibility. On Fedora KDE Plasma 6.5, pairing KDE with tools like DenLive, Krita, Blender, and OBS feels natural. Color management improvements ensure better consistency for creative work, and multi-monitor setups behave reliably, which is crucial for professional workflows. One of the most impressive aspects of KDE Plasma 6.5 is how it scales across different types of users. Beginners using Kubuntu KDE Plasma 6.5 will appreciate the sensible defaults and discoverable options. Power users on Arch Linux KDE Plasma 6.5 will love the depth of customization and scriptability. Enterprise users on openSUSE Leap KDE Plasma 6.5 will value stability and long-term support. This versatility is something few desktops can claim. Accessibility in KDE Plasma 6.5 has also improved. Font scaling, contrast settings, keyboard navigation, and screen reader integration are better than before. On Linux Mint KDE or Fedora KDE Plasma 6.5, users who rely on accessibility features will notice smoother interactions and fewer rough edges. Kit's commitment to inclusivity is evident in these improvements. KDE Plasma 6.5 also integrates beautifully with modern hardware features. Bluetooth management is smoother, Wi-Fi connections are more reliable, and system tray widgets feel more consistent. On laptops running Manjaro KDE Plasma 6.5, switching between networks or connecting Bluetooth headphones is quick and painless. These are the kinds of everyday interactions that define whether a desktop feels polished or frustrating, and Plasma 6.5 gets them right. The widget ecosystem in KDE Plasma 6.5 continues to be a highlight. Desktop widgets, panel widgets, and system tray applets are easy to add, remove, and configure. On KDE Neon Plasma 6.5, widgets feel stable and well integrated, rather than experimental. Weather widgets, system monitors, clocks, and launchers all benefit from the same visual consistency and performance improvements. Another area where KDE Plasma 6.5 shines is internationalization. Right-to-left language support, font rendering, and input methods are more reliable. On Fedora KDE Plasma 6.5 or Kubuntu KDE Plasma 6.5, used in multilingual environments, switching languages and keyboard layouts is seamless. This global focus reinforces KDE's reputation as a desktop for everyone. What truly sets KDE Plasma 6.5 apart is the feeling that everything belongs together. From the login screen to the lock screen, from the panel to the system settings, there is a sense of cohesion that earlier versions sometimes lacked. On Arch Linux KDE Plasma 6.5, even with custom themes and tweaks, the desktop retains its identity. On Kubuntu KDE Plasma 6.5, the integration between the distribution and Plasma feels intentional and refined. KDE Plasma 6.5 also represents a philosophical shift. Instead of chasing trends or copying other desktops, KDE has doubled down on its strengths: choice, power, and polish. It respects the user's intelligence while still being approachable. This balance is incredibly difficult to achieve, and Plasma 6.5 comes closer than ever. As Linux continues to gain popularity on desktops and laptops, KDE Plasma 6.5 stands out as a flagship experience. Whether you are coming from Windows, macOS, GNOME, or an older KDE version, Plasma 6.5 feels familiar yet refreshing. On Fedora KDE Plasma 6.5, you get cutting-edge technology. On Kubuntu KDE Plasma 6.5, you get stability with modern features. On Arch Linux KDE Plasma 6.5, you get total control and performance. This adaptability makes KDE Plasma 6.5 one of the strongest desktop environments in the Linux ecosystem. In the end, KDE Plasma 6.5 is not just an update. It is a statement. It shows what is possible when a community focuses on refinement instead of reinvention, on performance instead of gimmicks, and on user freedom instead of rigid design philosophies. Running KDE Plasma 6.5 on Kubuntu, Fedora KDE, Arch Linux, openSUSE, Manjaro KDE Neon, or EndeavourOS feels like using a desktop that has finally reached its prime. It is fast, it is beautiful, it is deeply customizable, and most importantly, it stays out of your way while you get work done. For many Linux users, KDE Plasma 6.5 is not just the most polished desktop yet. It is the desktop they have been waiting for.